good afternoon to people that are joining us. We're so happy that you're here. We have such great resources we want to share with you today with our new state of Arizona contract. And the cool thing is you don't even have to be in the state of Arizona to leverage it. So we have a pretty full agenda. We want to make sure that we have some time for questions and answers. You will notice on your bar that you do have a Q&A option. So if you do have any questions at any point during our webinar presentation this morning and this afternoon, please go ahead and post your questions in that Q&A bar, and we will make sure that we address your questions. Now, in the event that we have more questions that we are unable to answer during our time together, we will make sure that we reach out to you with the answers to your questions. But so far, we've been doing pretty good with answering all of the questions in the time that we have together here today. So again, thank you. Welcome. This is Maximizing Opportunities, leveraging our new state contract for you, for your success, and to really help you with some of your leadership and your organizational challenges and opportunities that you may have. So I am going to just introduce a little bit about GLS. I see some of you are familiar names, and so you are familiar with the services that we provide. Some of you are not, so it's just a delight to meet you. We'll formally introduce ourselves to you in just a moment. A little bit about Government Leadership Solutions. We are headquartered in the beautiful state of Arizona. We have over 25 years of partnerships with public agencies, and if we were to combine all of the years of all of the expertise from people on our team, we would be well over 100, probably a couple hundred. So we have a lot of expertise in working with public agencies. We really love to help teams increase communication, collaboration, trust, and productivity. Those are really the areas that we have a tendency to focus on and provide a lot of experience with. We love to help our organizations develop workplace cultures to increase the engagement, the performance, the change agility, and to really attract and retain the desired team members that we hope to, again, attract and keep. We are also a minority business enterprise certified. We have held an MBE for, gosh, I think close to a half dozen years, and we're real proud of that designation. What you're seeing on the left-hand side of your screen is what we refer to as our DNA. It's basically a culture map. This is actually something that we do for our clients, so of course we had to do it for our organization as well. And this is really who we are and who we strive to be as an organization. So it'll give you a little idea of our why, which is really transforming the world one local government at a time. Our POV, which is really our point of view. It's how we do our why, through the use of appreciative inquiry, unrivaled listening. We do pride ourselves on being very good listeners, and open-mindedness. We show up with really any engagement, any meeting, any interaction with each other and with our clients and other folks. We show up with an open mind because that really allows us to stay in that place of possibility thinking. And we really like that because that's where creation happens. Our non-negotiable values are just that. They're not negotiable. We are obsessed with quality. We provide unabashed customer service. We will eat crow or have egg on our face or whatever term or phrase you want to use when we need to step up, when maybe we haven't done something correctly. We will own it 100%. And we show up authentic. We say fearlessly authentic. There's no time for pretense. It's basically, we are what you see, and we show up with sincere authenticity and love. We absolutely love the work that we do. We love each other. We love our clients. We love our team members. We just show up in that sense of spirit. And our uniqueness is really our celebration of our diversity. And we really wholeheartedly believe in building an inclusive culture that really not only encourages, supports, but also celebrates the diverse and the unique voices of each member of our team and our clients.
I would like to introduce to you our CEO, Dr. Maria Church. So Dr. Maria Church is the best-selling author of a couple leadership books, Love-Based Leadership, the model for leading with strength, grace, and authenticity, and a course in leadership, 21 spiritual lessons on power, love, and influence. She has over 25 years working with various industries. She's a member and a frequent speaker at ICMA, ACMA, and affiliates. In GLS, we are a division of Dr. Maria Church International, and GLS has worked exclusively with local governments for over 10 years. We provide strategic planning services, organizational culture, DEIB consulting and training, and leadership training and development. And I can personally say that I've read both of Dr. Church's books, and she practices what she preaches, and she preaches what she practices. So I thoroughly enjoy working with her and her love-based leadership model.
Thank you, Laura. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you my co-host this morning, which is Laura Jestings. Laura is our Senior Proposal Manager. She has been with us for a little over 3 years now. And we are delighted to be able to not only have Laura, she's just a phenomenal individual. She also comes to us with over 20 years of experience in public procurement, in the public sector procurement. That knowledge and wisdom has not only served our organization well, but it serves our clients very well too. And we are just thrilled that she's a part of our team. Laura previously served as the deputy director for one of the largest cities in Arizona. And she is still actively involved nationally and locally with the NIGP, the Institute for Public Procurement. And again, she's been with us for a little over 3 years, and we couldn't be more pleased to have her on the team. You'll be hearing quite a bit from Laura in just a little bit, who's really going to take you into that procurement world and really make it something that's easy to navigate for you and something that's going to be extraordinarily useful and beneficial to you. So in our brief time together today, we want to share with you some of the workplace trends and best practices. We know that our clients rely on our thought leadership and also by keeping our pulse on what's happening in the industry. So we want to share with you just a few high-level things that are currently happening right now. Laura is going to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of a cooperative contract and introduce you to a cooperative contract if you're not already familiar with that. I've already shared with you a little bit about our organization. And then also Laura's actually going to navigate right on the screen to show you how to find us and how to be able to leverage that cooperative contract for yourself. And then, of course, questions and answers. So this is a snapshot of our team. Now, for the Arizona contract, the primary team members are myself, Trish Cordes, who is located in Tucson, Arizona, and May Sinclair, who is located in the Phoenix Valley in Glendale, Arizona. We are the 3 primary consultants on this Arizona state contract. Behind the scenes is a wonderful myriad of experience and expertise across the country. And so we're just delighted to be able to really attract and retain the top talent in the leadership, organizational culture, DEIB, thought leadership. This is a snapshot of some of the current clients that we are working with and some of our most current previous clients. So this will give you an idea. You can see we're very heavy presence in the state of Arizona. However, we are, again, located and do work with local government organizations and other public agencies throughout the country as well. I am so proud of the results that our clients have experienced because they're doing as much of the work as we're doing. And so we get in there together and we roll up our sleeves. We've seen increases in productivity, communication, interpersonal skills, innovation, significant increases in innovation. And a couple of years ago, we actually hired an outside researcher to come in and do a study specifically on the ROI that one of our clients received. And we were doing some heavy, deep culture work, really shifting their organizational culture to represent who they were and who they wanted to be. And we thought, this feels really good, but we want to quantify that. And so we hired an independent researcher who specializes in ROI study, and she realized she determined that our client had realized over 300% ROI on their time and money investment in their culture work. It was really spectacular to be able to see those hard number results. If any of you are interested in looking at that case study, we would be thrilled to be able to share that with you. So go ahead and just indicate that in the questions box, and our team will go ahead and notate that so that we can send you that case study. By the way, our team, some of the members of our team are here today, and I just want to acknowledge an appreciation for them. Stephanie, Veronica, and we also have Tashelle, who is behind the scenes as well, with, of course, technology issues, which we all know and can relate to today. So thank you, ladies, for being present today to support this webinar and answering questions that people have. We really appreciate you. We know that today's workplace is very different than it was 10 years ago, and very different than even it was 5 years ago. We see today that we have challenges in our busyness. We are busier today than ever before. We also are finding that our resources, we say this every year, unfortunately, our resources seem to be getting scarcer and scarcer. And that's not just monetary resources, that's human resources as well. I believe that we're still feeling, and probably will feel for at least another decade, the ramifications and the ripple effects of the COVID-19 worldwide pandemic that we all experienced in various different ways. And so we're still feeling a lot of those strong ripple effects from that. We also are finding today, and again, many will argue and purport that this is a direct result of the experience of COVID that we had, and that there are many factors contributing to our difficulty in really attracting and retaining the people that we want and that we need on our teams. That has become a huge, huge challenge for us. I'm going to share some data with you momentarily that also supports that feeling that many of us are having. And that we're finding too that buying and purchasing is more complex today. Again, we're so appreciative for Laura being still so active in the procurement world, that she's able to really bring that knowledge of what those challenges are today so that we can help to make your jobs a little bit easier as well. So I promised you some data and some stats. So this is from SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management. And they're a great resource if some of you have not tapped into SHRM yet. They're a great resource for everything to do with people. And let's face it, people are what makes our organizations run today. So some recent data that SHRM has put out is indicating that 83% of managers in our organizations believe that training is beneficial to attracting talent, that many people that are out there that are looking for career and employment opportunities, that's one of the primary important factors that they're looking for when they're making a decision to not only go to that organization potentially as an employee, but even applying with that organization. And so having that leadership development is definitely an attractor. Now, we do so much work, we spend so much money as organizations to attract the right talent. We also need to retain them. And to that extent, the managers, 86% of them also believe that that training is beneficial to retaining. So not only are we finding those challenges with attracting, but we're also finding those challenges for retention and having those employment development opportunities, those training opportunities. It's a key factor. It could be a differentiator for your organization, your department, your division. Also, that they ran a poll that showed that 48% of employees agree. So now we are looking at the employees before we were looking at managers. 48% of the employees agree that training opportunities were a factor in choosing that organization to work at. Also, a poll showed that 76% of employees, 76%, let that one sink in. 76% of employees agree that they are more likely to stay with an organization that offers those continuous training opportunities. So you all clearly have an interest in training or development, or you wouldn't have shown up here today. And so please grab this data, hold on to this data, because this will help you when you're building your business case for why you believe training and development is important in your organization or your department. Additionally, we looked at a couple of other sources as well. The World Economic Forum last year put out a report that indicated that companies recognize that today upskilling, so increasing that skill level, and reskilling, so looking at something completely different from a skill set, that both of those factors, upskilling and reskilling our employees, 82% planned to invest in learning and training. So companies are recognizing that upskilling and reskilling is so important that 82% of the organizations that the World Economic Forum surveyed do plan on investing in learning and training. So yay, the cat's, what do they say, that the cat's out of the box, or I don't know why I try and say those sayings. I always seem to mess them up, but people know now that this is important. PricewaterhouseCoopers found out that 77% of CEOs say that their availability of key skills are the biggest threat to organizations. So if they're not seeing those key skills from candidates, they see that as the biggest threat. Let that one sink in. It's not money, it's not revenue, it's the fact that their people may not have the key skills that are necessary in their organizations today. So 3/4 of CEOs that were surveyed found that. Now, I'm sure many of you all here that are serving and working in public agencies can also relate to that as well. Monster.com, 95% of their respondents said they're looking for or plan to look for a job in this next year. 95%. So can you imagine if even just a quarter of those folks did decide to leave the organization and look for a new job? Many of us we'd be in trouble if that happened. Now, our organization, GLS, we did some national research in 2023. We're getting ready to actually repeat it again this year, and I cannot wait. We'll release the results in early 25 so that we can look at the comparison, what's happened over the last 2 years. What we found in our national research, and we researched cities, counties, townships, anybody in the local government space that were senior leaders, so department directors and above. Most of the respondents were city, county, town managers and administrators. We surveyed them because we wanted to find out what was the state of the leadership pipeline. We knew from the work that we were doing that there was some concern about the leadership pipeline, but I didn't know if that was just the folks that we were interacting with or if this was really something industry-wide, and there wasn't any research done on this industry-wide. So we raised our hand, we said, we're going to do it. And what we found is that organizational culture was ranked by these city, county, town managers and administrators as the top priority that they believed that candidates were looking for. That organizational culture was one of the most, if not the most important factor for potential and future leaders to join their organization. Wow, that makes sense. That's where we're spending the vast majority of our waking hours, is in our organizations. So our top officials are believing that that's important. Yet only 1/3 of local governments across the country reported that they had a strong workplace culture. So there's clearly a gap there. We confirmed, as we had suspected, that maintaining that optimal staffing level that so many of our organizations that we work with are experiencing is that challenge in maintaining that optimal staffing level, that was definitely confirmed that it's not only an attraction challenge for us, but it's also a retention issue. And then finally, the last data point from our study that I wanted to share with you, only 1/4 of the respondents reported that their leadership pipeline health was good or excellent. And yet only 29% actually had the budget to develop in-house leaders. So again, another strong gap. Unfortunately, our suspicion was confirmed by the data. By the way, this QR code that you're seeing on the right side here will take you directly to a download of this study, of this data. So go ahead, snap a photo of that, and we will make sure that you get that download as well. If you're having a hard time loading that for whatever reason, go ahead and put your email address in the Q&A, and one of our team members will make sure that you have that download. So some of the best practices that we're seeing out there. So these, I just shared with you the trends. Let's look at the best practices now. So one of the best practices is really strategic sourcing. And that's something that we're seeing more and more of today. Laura shared this information with us, that contracting workloads are increasing. They're just getting busier, as we indicated earlier. The purchasing requirements are actually becoming more complex. So as we're adding more rules onto how we're sourcing services and goods, that it is becoming more complex. Budgets and resources, we know, are really challenged. They're declining right now, and we're seeing a dip as well. It seems like historically each year that we have a presidential election, as we get a little closer, budgets get tighter and tighter and tighter, because people just are not sure, what direction we may be going as a nation, let alone as a state or local government. Organizations really need to innovate and to really meet their needs. And so we're finding, as I'm sure all of you have found, tools, innovation tools such as AI are becoming the norm. They're not just, something that our data geeks in the organization are all excited about. Those of us that would be a far cry from being a techie are embracing these innovation tools, because they're helping us do our work in many ways even more efficiently. And so organizations are really starting to embrace a lot of this, because we have to. And then again, strategic use of cooperative contracts is extraordinarily beneficial. Laura's going to share with you some of the top benefits that she not only experienced as a procurement professional, but also is seeing a continuation in the industry. And she's going to share that with you in just a moment. One of the best practices that we're seeing, and I'm really personally very excited about this actually is a graphic that came out from the Association for Talent Development, and I love the visual of this because it really tells the story, is that our talent management today is we see the need, and this is a best practice that we're seeing in really outstanding organizations, is that they're integrating the talent management. It's not disparate like efforts here and there. They're really very mindfully looking at an integration. And as this graphic demonstrates, it's everything from the beginning with workforce planning and talent acquisition to performance management. And we're seeing that trend, by the way, with more pay for performance happening in the local government space. So performance management becomes even more important when people's pays are directly attached to that, which we hadn't seen in the past in local gov. Also, employee development, of course, is a big part of this. Succession planning. And we know we can never promise anybody a position, but boy, we sure can get them ready to compete for that. Also, the compensation and rewards is a big part of this, and engagement and retention. So looking at this holistically and creating plans in these organizations that are practicing this best practice are seeing some really, really solid results on their talent management. Lastly, some of the best practices that we're looking at. McKinsey did a really wonderful study, a deep dive on what types of learning journeys seem to really resonate with the employees. And what they found is that when the learning journey can be personalized for that individual, not the masses, but that individual, that that engagement increased 4 times, 4x the engagement. So that's absolutely something for us to consider, is how now can we leverage some of these innovation tools to really help personalize the learning experiences for our people. Upskilling at scale. Again, upskilling, we're finding large numbers of organizations are realizing the import of that. And also bite-sized learning. You might hear this referred to as leadership nuggets, as micro learnings, but that bite-sized learning with autonomy. So like real time, that they can access this bite-sized learning as needed, is definitely a best practice today, as is community building. And I think this is one of the ripple effects post-COVID. We always knew community was important before COVID. Post-COVID, we have really, I mean, put the exclamation point on that. And from a training and development perspective, by providing those opportunities, whether it's leveraging technology through discussions, Slack, so many other wonderful communication tools out there, to augment the learning for the people that are going through their learning journey, has been just a double benefit. It's not only building community and building relationships, but it helps make the learning sticky. And that's the last best practice that I wanted to share with you this morning, is that when we can make learning sticky so that it sticks, then our investment in learning and development is solid. And we're going to see some ROI on that. No matter how wonderful and amazing your facilitator is, and everybody has a great experience at that training, if there's nothing built in to make that learning stick, we know that the half-life is maybe a week or two, and then we're kind of back to the same old, same old. So that's, those sticky factors are really important. And if you want to enter into a conversation about what some of those sticky factors can look like, email me. I love to get into those conversations, and I have a tendency to geek out on that, so I could really talk about that right now, but we have so many other things that we want to share with you that I won't. But please reach out, because I'd love to share some of the sticky strategies that we've been putting into place that have been very effective. Laura?
Yeah, we'd like to hear from you all on this webinar. How many are using or have used cooperative contracts?
So the poll has been launched.
Well, thank you.
Give you a few moments
Okay.
to get all your responses. All right.
All right, it looks like it is coming in.
Yes.
Okay, what do we have?
Okay, so far. So we have a 67% with yes, I'm using or have used a corporate contract. We have a 33% with no, I haven't, and we have a 0% for unsure.
All right. So going to our next slide, sounds like many of you already might know what a cooperative contract is. Let's just offer a definition so we're all have the same understanding. So quite simply, a cooperative contract is a way for government agencies to share their contracts with other government agencies, especially for common goods and services that we all are using out there. So in the question box, how about entering, for those of you who have used cooperatives, what have you used cooperatives for? What are you currently using cooperatives? What kind of goods and services have you benefited from these contracts?
I see someone commented for office supplies. There's another one that says health plans, contracts.
That's
Construction services too. Construction services.
Okay. Yeah, in my buying days, we used them for many things. Office supplies was always a good one to use. Computers, software purchases, the MRO and the JanSan fleet. And we too use them for services for training, HR, IT, staff augmentation. So they're out there on a variety of business services, and they're useful to use. So for those of you, sounds like many of you are using cooperatives, you already probably understand some of the benefits of the cooperatives. Let's kind of go through some of those benefits. Yeah, I got a screen. Yeah. Most of the biggest benefit to cooperatives, it saves money and time. In some cases, why reinvent the wheel when a good contract's in place that you are eligible to use? So it saves money and time. It complies with public procurement laws. I love that cooperative contracts give you a pre-competed, a pre-negotiated, 100% legally defensible contract to use. It leverages the lead agency's volume, and especially for some of the smaller, more rural or remote agencies, sometimes they're challenged with drawing the attention to their competitive processes. When the state goes out for a process, it casts a net wide and large, and it gets large responses, and all those responses are available for any agency to use. So it really is leveraging, in this case, the state of Arizona and their attraction to draw a competitive market. And last but not least, the end result provides you a specific list of suppliers with their specific items and prices. You can search by supplier name, you can search by items. It really becomes a good tool to use. So as you all know, GLS is very excited. We were awarded a state of Arizona contract for training and development. And this contract is structured with many, many categories. And the categories that apply to us, in which we submitted on and were awarded, are personal development and management and leadership. And under these categories, we offer a comprehensive suite of services that include our workshops. We have many workshops that are already structured, they're already created. We also can customize workshops. We offer coaching programs. We offer a leadership development university, which we'll share more information on in a minute. And we also offer our suite of consultative services, strategic planning, organizational culture, and other services as well.
Thank you so much, Laura. So I'd just like to go into a little bit more each one of those categories of, you know, what's available for folks with this particular contract. So we offer a variety of personal development workshops. In fact, we have over 50 workshops that we've developed. And again, we love to do custom workshops as well. And by the way, every time we do a workshop for an organization that we've already developed, we always customize it because we want to make sure that we're tying it into case studies that are relevant for your teams, your culture. You know, how can we integrate your POV, your why, your non-negotiable values into the workshop so that, again, it's super relevant and immediately applicable to the work that you all are doing. And so these are some of the personal development workshops that we have that we know anytime we're focusing on personal development, we're really focusing on professional development too, because whatever we're doing for us personally as human individuals, it also translates into being a great employee in the workplace. And so communication to connection is probably one of our most popular workshops that we offer. We also find trust building, really trust building and communication seem to be 90 to 95% of the challenges that most of the organizations that we work with experience. So we have several workshops on building trust as well. Team dynamics, the good, the bad, the ugly, and how to manage through conflict is also a very popular workshop that we do. The art of motivating yourself and others. We know as leaders, if we're not self-motivated, it's not going to translate to motivating others. And so it's that this workshop is a really beautiful combination of really motivating ourselves and then how we can fan the flames in helping to inspire that motivation in other people. And then creating a welcoming workplace. We've added, in fact, I think just in the last month, Laura, we've added 3 or 4 new workshops to our catalog of workshops that we're offering. Now, from a management and leadership perspective, again, I wanted to just share with you an idea of what some of the most popular workshops are that we're currently involved in. One is appreciative inquiry. I mentioned the use of appreciative inquiry in our culture map. It's part of our POV. It's how we live our why. It's a beautiful process and model for really looking at what's working very well on your team or in your organization, and how can we get even better. And I love the way people show up with that kind of a framework and a mindset, as opposed to what's going well and what's broken. What's going well and what's going wrong. We show up differently when we are looking at what's going well and how can we get even better. Of course, sharpening your leadership coaching skills. This is something that we started offering right during COVID, because we were finding that our leaders needed to do a lot more coaching with their employees during that time and subsequently since then. And so this has been a very popular workshop as well. Navigating difficult conversations. I don't think that ever drops off the list of some of the most popular ones. Servant leadership and how we practice servant leadership. So many of us are doing it naturally, and it's really powerful when we bring that top of mind. And then the art of effective feedback. And in this particular workshop, we not only talk about how to deliver feedback, but how to receive feedback as well, because there's definitely an art to that. Another program that is part of this offering through the State of Arizona Cooperative Contract is we're real proud of this program. We developed this actually during COVID as a way to still continue to serve our clients who still wanted to develop leaders, but their budgets shrunk during COVID, as we well know, and also the ability to travel or to bring large groups of people together in person. So this is actually a hybrid online learning environment, and it's a 12-week cohort program where it has leadership nuggets, those bite-size, real-time ability to learn in that particular content for that week. And so that's wonderful, because people can do that in between meetings, or when they're coming back from the field, or before they go out into the field that morning, in short, little digestible learning micro nuggets. And then what we found is that asynchronistic ability has been so convenient for our learners. We also see the need for the in-person real-time interaction. Remember, thinking community, right? Building community. And so in this 12-week program, there's 1 hour per week that is live. And we record it for those people that aren't able to come in. But that's where we really get to have flesh out discussions, even more than the discussion platform of the online learning, and really talk about how have they tried some of those strategies or techniques? What, did that tool work for them in this particular situation? And if not, how can we tweak it? And so those conversations weekly have been really, really powerful. We also, since so many of our faculty members also do executive and leadership coaching as well, we know the power of that one-on-one intimate coaching conversation. And so the way this program was designed, that the learners and the participants in this 12-week Leadership Development University, LDU, they have an opportunity to have a one-on-one with one of our faculty coaches, which has been really extraordinary for them. The feedback we've gotten has been really pretty incredible. And then, of course, being boots on the ground for so many years and doing leadership development with organizations, we were continuously asked by the participants' bosses, whether they were their supervisor or manager or direct, they were their direct report. They were always asking, what are they learning in there? How can I talk to them about their learning to see how it's applying? And so what we did is we developed this really robust coaching guide for the participants' bosses to be able to enter into conversations every single week about the learning content. And so we've provided in that coaching guide some really powerful questions. Well, we knew that was going to be really cool for those bosses to be able to have those conversations. What we hadn't anticipated until the first couple cohorts went through was how impactful those regular conversations that they were having with their bosses were for them, because it was that time where they were talking about their own leadership desires and development and growth. And so that was just icing on the cake. We were delighted because we hadn't anticipated that. And then, of course, there's a graduation ceremony and a graduation certificate that concludes this 12-week LDU. In fact, Laura, I don't think I've told you that, but we're just starting with actually an organization here in Arizona. Their solid waste department is putting a cohort through through LDU, and like so many organizations that people are getting promoted because they're great subject matter experts, but maybe they haven't had that leadership development focus. They saw that need was there, and that the way LDU was structured with their schedules of being out in the field, that it really is something that's going to benefit them well. So yeah, that's getting ready to launch, Laura, I think in a couple of weeks. So we're excited to be able to support the solid waste department there at that municipality. I've mentioned coaches. Many people on our team are certified executive leadership coaches. We offer a couple of different options for coaching. We have a 6-month program where we really get to take that deep dive with that individual for 6 entire months. We also offer a shorter version of that for 3 months, and what we call laser sessions. Those laser sessions are, as they sound, they're really laser focused. There are shorter sessions, and they're really just focused on one particular challenge or opportunity with real-time support. And so those laser sessions have been very helpful as well. In addition to doing the individual coaching, we'd love to be able to do group coaching too. We've had some very, very rich conversations and ideas and solutions that have come from these group coaching sessions as well. And as Laura had mentioned, on this contract, we were also approved for a variety of various consultative services. And some of that is the organizational culture consulting that I mentioned earlier that we did, that we have that case study on with the 300% ROI. Strategic document reviews, we've been doing workforce policy reviews, DEIB policies. So we'll do a review of various different documents, and it's so nice to have, a set of eyes outside of the organization who has no political agenda whatsoever, to be able to do those reviews for our clients. Strategic planning, holy cow, we have on the Arizona State contract, the strategic planning queen. In fact, she couldn't join us today for this because she's currently doing strategic planning with one of our clients, also in Arizona. And so, yeah, we love, and we have a beautiful process. That the feedback we've gotten is people are like, I didn't know strategic planning could be fun. So yeah, we've got the queen, the diva, we call her, for strategic planning. Love-based culture organizational assessment. This is a proprietary assessment where we measure different aspects, 7 different layers of culture. And we look at it on a continuum of fear to love. And of course, love not being puppies, kittens, and rainbows. It's really the value, the honor, the care, the trust, the concern that we have as human beings, one for another. But it's important for us to measure that on a spectrum compared to fear, because fear is the #1 killer of innovation. And so we've developed a proprietary assessment that we've done hundreds of these across the country. We also develop customized assessments and surveys, and that's really rich data for organizations. Part of that oftentimes will include focus groups, interviews, really in-depth data analysis, and depending on what our clients' needs are, we can triangulate data in a variety of different ways. We can separate departments from one another in the data, so we can really look at areas that as an organization you may want to focus on what's working well, and how you can get even better.
All right, now let's go. I want to show you where to find our contract on the State of Arizona website. So the screen here, I'll take you to the page in a second. I'll show you how to find the state contracts, how to search for our contract, and where to find it. This QR code will also take you exactly to our contract. Once you go through the You're Not a Robot process, it'll get you there. Let's go ahead and navigate and see what this looks like. Let me get here. Hold on, there it goes. Right. Okay, this takes you to the State of Arizona Procurement Portal. A lot of information here. But we're going to scroll down and click on state contracts here. Once you're here, so the Arizona State, they have over 900 cooperative contracts. They are robust in their portfolio. So when you want to search for a contract, so when you want to search for the GLS contract, which we hope you do, the easiest way is to search by contract number, if you happen to know it. If you do happen to know it, you can just enter in the contract. I'm going to enter it in CTR. I'm looking over here. Oh, 6875705. So let's see if I got that right. Let's see what we come up with that search. And if you scroll down here, this looks like 2 contracts, but it's a duplicate record. So we have 1 contract. But if you know the contract ID number, it'll take you right to our contract. But if you're like me, though, in my buying days, I didn't know anyone's contract number, but I knew the name of the supplier who I was interested in, right? So let's search for keywords for us. So I won't go through all the keywords, but the keywords that work for us are, Dr. Maria Church International, government leadership, Maria Church or church. Those are words that will take you right there. So let's just use church. That's the easiest word to put in there. To filter it, let's mark the co-op designation yes. That means your search will only show up with those contracts that are cooperative. Not all the contracts in the state of Arizona base are cooperative. And we'll do the statewide cooperative contract. So you search by that keyword. And now we actually have 2 contracts with the state of Arizona. I'll let Dr. Maria share the brand new one, which was awarded Monday. That's how new it is. But here you find our contracts. So for professional development, consultation, and training, to view it, just click on the link. It's very simple. And I am not a robot.
There we are.
I'm not a robot. Now I'm into our contract. So scrolling down, scroll down here. There you go. So down here, I'm not going to open up all these links, but here's where you find all the information on our contract. Of most use to folks, honestly, is the contract and the pricing. Those are the spreadsheets that show you our services and the pricing for our services. And that is probably what folks are most interested in. But you also can see our whole submission, all the documents that we submitted if that's of interest. So that's how you view the contract. Let's go back to our slides. So again, I went over this screen. And now let me show you to use any cooperative contract under the state of Arizona, you do have to register and become a member, but it's a very easy process. So let me just show you some information on their cooperative program. In my screen. This takes you now to the Department of Administration, Procurement, and the cooperative program. Again, they have a very robust cooperative program. And I think most states across the nation do. This is not unique to Arizona, but it's such a great resource for agencies to use. So on this page, it'll tell you what the program is. It's going to let you know the governance, the laws that govern the state of Arizona procurements. The folks who are eligible to use the contract are a variety of public serving agencies, city and towns, schools and education, healthcares, charities, religious and faith-based organizations, and other nonprofit. So it really is helpful to folks serving the public and not just the government. So it's just a nice service that's offered. If you want to see if your agency is currently registered to use the contracts, this link here will take you to the current members. It's also a good place to verify if you are on the list, if your contact names are updated. And there's a process to update the names. We've already gone over through some of the benefits, and some of the benefits I borrowed from this page. So how to become a state cooperative member? It's a very easy process. If you fall into one of those categories, which I assume those on this call do, you click here on the agreement. It's a 5-page agreement. You read it, you sign it, and I think it's a very easy process to get approved. And once you're on the list, you're then eligible to use any state of Arizona cooperative contract.
What's the cost for that, Laura?
Good question. There's no fee to use this. So it's a free service to agencies out there. There's absolutely no cost, no fee. And nor is the fee built into our vendors' pricing. I can guarantee you that for anybody, the fee is not built in anywhere. The procurement compliance questionnaire, for those who are Arizona educational institutions, the school districts, the educations, their procurement laws are a little bit different than the other procurement laws. So this checklist shows you how the state of Arizona contracts comply with all the requirements for the Arizona school districts. So again, it's just a great service the state is doing to serve various folks out there. It's actually actually quite impressive. And when I was working for the city of Tucson, we're a large agency, robust with procurement staff, and we're lead agencies on many cooperatives ourselves, but we also used many cooperatives off the state of Arizona because they are good contracts, they're good value. So we routinely use these contracts in buying for our city. Okay, so going back to our page, again, this is where the link that takes you to the program information. Lots of good information on there. So if you're interested, just play around. There's more info that I didn't even touch on.
Great information, Laura. Thank you. And we are coming close to our time here. As promised, I wanted to save a few minutes for Q&A. So if you have any questions that you haven't already posted, please go ahead and add that in there. Our contact information is here for you. Again, this QR code will take you right to that Arizona state contract page so that it's very easy for you to look up. Laura has highlighted, as did Veronica, thank you, the contract number actually for this. So it's right there for you as well. So take a snapshot of this entire slide if you'd like to be able to help you to navigate a little easier. Veronica or Stephanie, any questions that we can answer?
I have one question so far, and it
Okay.
says, does my organization need to be in Arizona to use this contract?
No. In fact, we were looking at the members, and I actually, of course, I haven't lived in the procurement world like Laura has. I was shocked at how many people belong to this cooperative network that are not in the state. But again, all the vetting is done for them. So it makes sense, especially for some smaller organizations or school districts that, have to comply by the buying laws, but may not have the staff to do all that's necessary for them in the vetting process. So yeah, I was actually surprised by that. Good question. Any other questions come up?
No further question at this moment, ma'am.
Okay, well, what's really exciting is that, again, we are just delighted to be able to offer all of the state organizations and those people that are part of that network as well, leadership development resources. We, again, very delighted to be able to do that. Also on Monday, as Laura had mentioned, we were just awarded a DEI contract, diversity, equity, inclusion. We always say B, belonging, because that's an important part of it. Inclusiveness, all of those wonderful things that help to make a welcoming workplace. We were just awarded the state contract for that. So we'll be doing a webinar coming up where I'm really excited to bring in some of our DEI experts on the team to be able to talk a little bit more about that as well. So two opportunities to be able to support the great state of Arizona and all of those people who are part of that network as well. So if there are no more questions, or if you wanted to just have a question in a private conversation, please reach out to us. You can see concierge at governmentleadershipsolutions.com is a great place to start. And then we'll connect with you if you do have any questions specifically for me or for Laura or any of the other members on our team. So again, we thank you for today. We honor our time. You have 1 minute to spare. Thank you again for showing up, and thank you for being involved with questions and comments. Have a beautiful day.